Hi, today I'll be showing you a quick overview of a web development application built for Mac OSX, and it is called Flux. When you open up the application, you'll get this pop-up window, and you can just select to create a new project. And I'm going to save this on my desktop and call this Flux Test. And this also has support for Ruby's on Rails, but I'm going to leave it at standard website. And I'm going to save this on my desktop. And it's also whenever you create a new project, it will ask you if you want to create a new index.html file and a main.css file. And I'm going to go ahead and click yes, so I don't have to create those files myself. One cool thing about this application that I've noticed is that you can insert packages without actually having to download and link them into your pages. So I'm talking about things like Lightbox, Thickbox, any of those type of packages that you have to download and install basically on your website. And to install those packages, you just need to click this Packages button when you're in the Site Manager window. And a list of available packages will come up, and you can just click on one that you would like and click the Install button. There's things like a corner. Using JavaScript, it will apply rounded corners to your divs. Things like Lightbox and Slimbox, which are both ways that your user can view images in like a gallery type of view. And all you have to do is select one of these and click Install, and it will add all of the necessary files to your website, and it will link it all to your pages. So whenever you're in the Site Manager, this is where you're going to open up and edit all your files. So I'm going to go ahead and open up our index.html file. And as you can see, right here on the right we have basically our edit view, and then on the left we have a preview of all the styles in our main.css file. And also up at the top you have these three buttons, and these allow you to switch different views. First one is edit. Obviously you're going to be editing your website. Switch to preview. This will show you a live preview. Actually, not a live preview, a preview based off of a computer generated. If you go to live preview, you can actually go to the website if it's on a FTP server or a MobileMe or something like that. Also, a cool thing about this is if you're in the preview mode, there's a debug button right here. If you click that, it'll actually bring up the element inspector that's built into Safari 4. And so you can go ahead and debug your website right in the application. You don't have to open it up in Safari just to debug it. There's also some navigation tools right here for going back and forward. So I'm going to switch back to the edit view, and I'm going to go ahead and just show you some of these other buttons. Once again, I don't know if I mentioned this, but Flux is more of a drag and drop based application compared to Coda or Espresso, which are two other great native Mac OSX applications that are for web development. And Flux uses like drag and drop, where on the other hand, Coda and Espresso, you're actually writing all the code, all the CSS, all the HTML, PHP, whatever your language you're using. And in Flux, it'll let you do most of those operations visually, which may be an advantage, may be something that you wouldn't like. So it's kind of up to the user. So I can add containers, which are basically divs. If I select my body div or area and I can create a quick div right here. You can edit the size visually. You don't have to edit any of the CSS for this. You can create divs within this div. You can create divs outside of the div. You can add stuff to the div like text. If I click this text right here, there's a bunch of built-in styles already and a bunch of headings already defined right there. I just select one. Say I want to do H1. And then I can start type my text in there. You can also insert media visually by clicking this media button, and you can insert Flash, movies, QuickTime movies, whatever, images. And also there's a form button right here. This will allow you to. So let me just create another quick div right here inside my body, and then within that div. And then within that div, I'm going to create a form. So just click this form button and click form. And obviously that inserts all the text boxes and actually an input button. If I can get it to show up, there we go, submit button. So if I click the preview, you could actually type in your information, blah blah blah, and click submit. You obviously have to program it. It's not just going to do it for you. once again, there's these packages. If you actually installed some packages, some options would show up for those packages within there. Another cool thing about this application, and also cool about these other two, Coda and Espresso, is the ability to store and organize snippets, also referred to as clips or whatever you want to call them. This way you can actually store snippets of code without having to memorize them. You can just click on an add button and give it a title. For the example right here, I had a PHP include. I just had a PHP include line with some not completely correct code, but get the idea. Click OK, and all you have to do to add that snippet of code to your page is drag and drop, and it will insert it. If I switch to the text, hold on a second. All right. Nope. Well, you get the idea. Also, there is an inspector right here. This is similar to the iWeb inspector, and so I'm gonna go ahead and create a new div. I'm just gonna put it somewhere on the page, right in the middle of the page. There you go, a little bigger. And I can go in and edit the properties of that div without actually editing the CSS, meaning that I can actually do it all visually. And there's some really cool things that you can do, like rounded corners and such. So if I press that button, you guys can see it adds a rounded corner with like a stroke. So I can do that all visually. I can change the fill color. And basically I'm editing this all visually. I don't have to type in any of the CSS. It does it all for me. So once again, Coda does have a very similar way that you can do visual CSS. Espresso unfortunately doesn't. You have to buy Mac Rabbit's alternative called CSS Edit, which is a great application and allows you to actually organize your CSS into folders. But anyway, so that's the basics of Flux and how you can edit all the stuff visually, preview it. Obviously, I could put a form inside of here, and do submit or debug it, edit all, see how it's running, see how long things are taking to load, and you can do that all within the application without leaving it. There's also some built-in layout things. These are very similar to the layout properties that you can set up in Dreamweaver, and it'll set up the divs for you, and actually you can optionally create a new CSS or already use one you're using, or just put it into this actual HTML file, and that'll create the divs and all the CSS properties to give it the layout that you selected out of there. You can also click the code button and edit the code this way if you wanted to, if you wanted to actually edit it like you were editing in Coda or a Flux, which is nice if that's the way you prefer. There's also this page button, and it'll let you edit the head elements and more advanced elements if you want. So you can add new ones, whatever. So yeah, that is the basics, very basics. I'm not going to go too much into detail of Flux. It's a great application. It's much cheaper than Dreamweaver, which is basically its competitor, I guess you could say, because they're both using visual and non-visual ways of editing your website. So yeah, it's a great application. I strongly suggest it. And I'll put a link in the video description so you guys can get more information about it and possibly purchase and download it, or maybe just download the demo, try it out, whatever you want to do. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.